Hi guys, I want to talk to you about another case I found in Oklahoma. I found it pretty interesting and found some flaws in the report again, which I found also interesting. So let's take a look at this one. The victim was Rebecca McCurdy, age 28, location Skiatook, Oklahoma. The date of the attack was June 19th, 2021. The moon phase at that time was a waxing gibbous. The offender, which was blamed for the attack, was pit bulls. The outcome of the case was a fatality. Uh, Tulsa, Oklahoma, reported by KTUL, 20-year-old or 28-year-old Rebecca McCurdy appeared to have a long and bright future ahead of her when she went to sit Skiatook last weekend. She went to dog sit. Friends and family of the mother of two became worried when they couldn't get in touch with her last Saturday. They called 911 to perform a welfare check. Now, that happens a lot, guys. Welfare checks are not uncommon if people can't get a hold of you. You can have that done almost anywhere. Uh, on the first, and one of the things that was weird to me is one of the first reports stated that the dogs were turned over in their crates, but were still in their crates. So the first initial report says that the dogs that attacked her were in their crates. The crates were turned over, but they were still in their crates. Okay, that was one of the things I found. And we know that if she was injured to the extent that she was injured, which they also talked about her limbs possibly coming from her body, that she did not put the dogs back in the crates. They located, uh, they located her at the residence, said Rex Wickel, and he was the investigator of the case. I think they went there, saw her car in the driveway. They called the sheriff's office, and that's when we found her deceased, unfortunately. Again, why did they say that the sheriff found her when another report the neighbor had to beat the dogs off of her with a ball bat and tried to save her? So again, you have another discrepancy that the sheriff's office says that they found her, but the neighbor said that he had to beat the dogs off of her with a ball bat. Investigator Weekle says no security cameras were at the home, so right now we have no solid idea on what exactly happened or when. They do know what happened when the police officer allegedly shot the dogs and fatally wounding one, but they don't know what was going on. So they're saying they don't know what went on, and now you got three stories already conflicting. Already, you have dogs in the crates. You have we don't know what went on, but you got a neighbor saying he beat the dogs off with a bat, and now a police officer allegedly killed the dogs in the garage during the attack. But they don't know what's going on. According to officials, and contrary to social media speculation, this is where they're starting to cover things up. They're going to say, well, the media was wrong in their first initial reports. They found no evidence that the pit bulls were trained to fight or prone to violence. That's interesting. The owner has been cooperating with the police department and has surrendered the animals. I've been in contact with him. He has signed them over to be destroyed. Imagine that. They're going to destroy the animals again. Investigator Weekle said. They are doing their 10-day waits to make sure they don't have rabies or anything like that, and then they will be destroyed. Well, when they said that, it didn't make sense to me at all. We're going to wait 10 days to make sure they don't have rabies. And one of the things I thought was making sure they don't have rabies and then will be destroyed. They don't know what happened, and they're already ready to destroy these animals. They always do this, even when they don't know what happened. I mean, there has to be a scapegoat. We're gonna kill a dog. It seems to be the motto now that if something happens, you can bet there's going to be a dog killed. If they were going to destroy the dogs anyways, and this is what I couldn't understand, why not just go ahead and euthanize the dogs and test the brain? Whenever you test the brain, it is also more accurate. It would save money, and it's also safer for the staff if these dogs did commit these heinous crimes, that they would not keep the dogs around the staff, or they would have to feed them, interact with them. They could have just put the dogs down, and then they could have cut the heads off and then studied the brains. It's a lot more accurate. It makes more sense if you know you're already going to do this. Investigator Wickle says fatal dog attacks are rare, and they are doing what they can to get the family any kind of closure that they can. And I looked this up, and I thought y'all would find this kind of interesting. Pit bulls are blamed in a lot of these. Did you know that pit bulls are only accountable for 2.5% of all fatal dog attacks? They're only accountable for 2.5% of all fatal dog attacks. Ultimately, we want to bring justice to the victim, but my first goal is to help the family get through what they are going through, Wickle said. To that end, a GoFundMe has been set up. No one is charged in McCurdy's death at this point. The sheriff's office experts, the sheriff's office expects it to be about 4 months before they get their final report from the medical examiner's office, which means the case is going to remain open for 4 months at least. Now, a thing that I thought was really, really, really interesting, I don't know, it just, their final conclusion is the dogs got out of the cages, attacked her, and killed her. Then they say, well, no one is charged in her death at this point because we don't know what happened. You can bet if those dogs would have killed her, there would have been charges. There would have at least been a civil liability charge, at least a civil charge. But they say they don't even know what happened, even after you have the neighbor says he beat the dogs off with the ball bat. A police officer allegedly killed the dogs in the garage while they was attacking her. Then they don't know what happened. A lot of inconsistencies in this story. And then they even come down and say, well, it's going to take us 4 months to get the cause of death from the medical examiner. Sounds to me like they're letting the case try to cool down, die off, and they're going to slip out a probably died from organ failure or something like that. That seems to be the norm. But I just feel sorry for these people. I mean, these reports are so contradicting. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, a neighbor, which would be a witness, beating the dogs off with a ball bat. Then you got a police officer that shot the dogs, and then we don't know what happened. The dogs were crated, the dogs were uncrated, and I don't know. It's going to take 4 months to even know what happened, I guess, from the medical examiner to determine how she died, even though her limbs were almost removed from her body also. Well, there's another one, guys. I'm sure that's going to aggravate you guys as much as it did me. Like, again, though, but as long as we can keep finding these inconsistencies, it proves that there is a cover-up, in my opinion, and allegedly that they're killing dogs, innocent dogs, allegedly, and trying to use them as scapegoats to protect whatever they're doing. It's sad, but these people deserve a voice, and she deserved to say too. I appreciate y'all watching. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, and we'll see you on the next one. Don't forget Friday. I don't know if I'm going to do it live or not. We may do a live with Calvin coming on the show. He's an actual hunter, and says he's going to tell us about the first time he's put lead into one of these creatures. Not the only time, but the first time he's done it. So I look forward to doing that with him, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.